Hello there, and welcome to today's episode of the Easy EdTech Podcast. My name is Monica Burns, and I am so glad that you're here to join me today. If you want to make the most of education technology, aka EdTech, well, you are in the right place. My goal has always been to help make EdTech easier and give you ideas you can try yourself, share with a colleague, or bookmark for later in the school year. Every Tuesday here on the Easy EdTech Podcast, you'll hear stories from my time in the classroom, the work I do now with schools and districts, and my travels to different EdTech events. Get ready for solo episodes where I share some quick tips and stories, and interviews full of practical ideas and stories from new guests each month. If we mention something you'd like to check out, make sure to click the link. You'll find it in the episode description or the summary area where you're listening to this podcast, or you can find every episode and all of the resources we mention by going to classtechtips.com/podcast, or by going to classtechtips.com and just clicking on the Easy EdTech Podcast button at the top of the page. This episode is sponsored by my quick reference guide using AI chatbots to enhance planning and instruction, published by ASCD and ISTE. It's full of quick tips educators can use, and Amazon almost always has it on sale. Just search for me, Monica Burns, on Amazon to see all of my books and quick reference guides. But please remember that there are 2 authors named Monica Burns on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell the difference between our books. Just head to Amazon, search Monica Burns, and you'll find my quick reference guide using AI chatbots to enhance planning and instruction. This week's episode is all about creative ways to celebrate the 100th day of school. Now, we sometimes imagine a 100-day of school activities, something like a kindergartner dressing up like they're 100 years old, which is plenty of fun. But this is a milestone that you can celebrate with all ages across different content areas, whether you decide to celebrate with a classroom project, a collaborative activity, or independent student work. There are plenty of ways to mark the 100th day of school. In today's episode, I have a handful of tech-friendly ways to celebrate some 100 days of school project ideas for you to consider. Now, they're ready for you to customize, to modify, to fit the needs of your group, and they connect with a wide range of subject areas. Of course, you can find all of these broken down in the show notes. I've got the full transcript to this on the show notes page. Just like every episode, you can go to easyedtechpodcast.com and find the episodes and all the resources with each one. Let's get into our list with some favorite tools that I've spotlighted on the blog in the past, a few companies I've worked with in the past, and these 100-day of school activity ideas. First up is 100 words of wisdom. Kids can create a digital poster, maybe using a tool like Adobe Express or Canva, featuring 100 words of advice, wisdom, or encouragement. You can encourage them to select meaningful phrases and design the poster with creative fonts, colors, images, you name it. And although 100 words might seem like a lot, you, of course, might have students use a variation of that word count, or you might find that it's too short for some of your students, or you might just ask them to each contribute some short words of wisdom. Maybe you have a group of 30 and you have everyone have 5 things that they submit, and then you pick 100 to spotlight. Or perhaps you have 10 kids work together and they can add 10 ideas to a collaborative space like Padlet. So plenty of ways to take a spin on 100 words of wisdom. Next up is a 100-page digital book. Now, similar to the activity I just mentioned, instead of having kids each make their own 100-page book, you could ask them to take 2 or 3 pages, or create a massive ebook with a few partner classes, and they can work together using this digital tool, perhaps Book Creator, that's a favorite, or something like Google Slides where every student has a slide. So plenty of options. For this type of project, you could pick a topic that connects to a current curriculum goal, or choose a theme that connects to 100, like 100 years ago or something. Or students could create pages that feature a fun fact or a drawing related to the topic. One thing I love about Book Creator, I've done some work with their team and plenty of webinars with them, created some content for them. I am a super fan, is that it gives students lots of ways to share. They could use audio, video, voice to text, so many things they could do. They even now have an AI generated image option for kids to type in a prompt and create an image. So pretty powerful. Next up is 100 Acts of Kindness Tracker. You could use a spreadsheet tool, maybe Google Sheets, to create a shared tracker where kids can log 100 acts of kindness. They can add their contributions and see the tracker fill up in real time. So this is a great activity to promote some social emotional learning while integrating technology. And you might even start it a few weeks before the 100th day of school and have students complete a Google form every time they see something great. If you've used Google Forms before, you know that the responses can connect back to a spreadsheet, and then you can review the results during a 100-day of school celebration. Or you might kick this off on the 100th day of school and keep it going through the second half of the school year. Another spin on this one is 100 days of gratitude. And if you're feeling a bit behind as you approach that 100th day of school, you might decide on a project that, kicks off on the 100th day as opposed to, say, the first day of school. And there aren't likely another 100 days of school after this 100th day marker, but there probably are another 100 calendar days. So you can kick off 100 days of gratitude challenge where students journal one thing they're thankful for each day for 100 days, even if it's not 100 school days, right? They can fill it in with days that might be off or vacation weeks or weekends if that feels good. So there's plenty of tools you can try. I made a slide deck created with tools like, PowerPoint, Google Slides. I've made slide decks with, other tools too. You might have tried Gamma. It's an AI tool, right? There's plenty of slide deck creation tools. You might use one to make a template and then share it with students. So far on our list, we've got 100 words of wisdom, 100-page digital book, 100 acts of kindness tracker, and now 100 days of gratitude. Let's keep it going. I've got a few more for you. Next up is 100 facts. So to complement a research project, you might ask students to research facts about a topic. Maybe it's a place or an animal. It could be really anything that connects to your curriculum goals or something that's a high interest topic for students. Maybe it has nothing to do with your content, but you are talking about reading informational text or conducting research, and you let kids choose the topic. So you could combine this with expectations you typically have for student researchers, like including citations, for example. So kids can research interesting facts about their topic, present what they learned in a shared digital space. I mentioned Padlet before. That might be one. You might have a Google Doc that students are working on as a small group. Maybe they jot down their ideas on sticky notes first and then jump on camera or add a picture to a collaborative space to share some of their facts. Next up is a timeline of 100 years. And I love a timeline. One of the most popular posts on my blog, I think people search for timeline ideas and it comes up high on Google, is one that I've done with timeline tools and timeline ideas. And you could create a timeline with students to celebrate the 100th day of school. They can look at events in the community or a particular place in the world that they're studying that spans the past 100 years. Or you might have students create a timeline with 100 events related to one topic if that 100-year time frame doesn't quite make sense for what you have in mind, like a timeline featuring 100 inventions or something like that. So timelines are lots of fun, but you might also decide to work with students to create a 100-question quiz. And they can use this to test their knowledge of classmates. Maybe they do trivia about each other as a class, or you could take a much more academic approach, maybe feature topics from the school year so far and use this 100-question quiz as kind of a review game. So you could have kids contribute questions, a couple questions, and you pick out 100 of them, make a quiz, and turn it into a class game. Next up, a bit of a math connection. You could do a 100 days of data challenge. So ask students to collect or review data on a specific topic. This is great for a mathematical connection to another topic your kids are learning about or one that they've expressed interest in. So for example, you might use weather data or sports scores from the past 100 days. So it doesn't have to be data that they collect themselves, although that's certainly an option. Kids could visualize the data with graphs and charts using Excel or Google Sheets and even share their findings in a class presentation. So if you're talking about circle graphs, right, or pie charts or bar graphs or histograms with students, right, they could represent their data in lots of different ways. Now, the last one I have for you is a favorite, and it's 100 inspirational quotes. I'm a big fan of Wakelet. I did a post for them in partnership with them on the blog, sharing some tips for Wakelet portfolios. I think it was last year. And you and your students could work together to create a collection using a tool like Wakelet or another of 100 inspirational quotes. So once you set up your collection, maybe it's in Wakelet or maybe it's a folder that you've made in Google Drive or in Dropbox, you name it, you can invite students in and they can drop in visuals, videos, audio recordings, explaining why a particular quote is meaningful to them. When you finish up and have 100 quotes, so have kids add a few each, you could share the Wakelet collection with families or other members of the school community. So there's a rundown of a handful of 100-day of school activity ideas. So you might do the words of wisdom, a 100-page digital book, an acts of kindness tracker, 100 days of gratitude, 100 facts, a timeline, a question quiz with 100 questions, 100 days of data, or that 100 inspirational quotes. So would love to hear from you which 100 days of school project ideas are you like the most on my list or something different that you're doing. These ones are really designed to spark some creativity, give some collaborative opportunities to your students while using a handful of my favorite EdTech tools. So feel free to reply to my weekly newsletter if you get my free newsletter on Mondays, or send me a message on Instagram. I check every one. I can't wait to see what resonates most with you. So let's make this EdTech easy with some key points from the episode. Incorporate digital tools to enhance collaboration and critical thinking. Use technology to create dynamic multimedia projects. Engage students with interactive and creative activities. Adapt ideas to fit different subjects, learning goals, and student interests. Remember, you can find the show notes with all of the resources I mentioned today by heading to easyedtechpodcast.com and finding today's episode. This one is number 350. This episode is sponsored by my quick reference guide using AI chatbots to enhance planning and instruction, published by ASCD and ISTE. It's full of quick tips educators can use, and Amazon almost always has it on sale. Just search for me, Monica Burns, on Amazon to see all of my books and quick reference guides. But please remember that there are 2 authors named Monica Burns on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell the difference between our books. Just head to Amazon, search Monica Burns, and you'll find my quick reference guide using AI chatbots to enhance planning and instruction. Thank you for listening to this new episode of the Easy EdTech Podcast. I love creating new episodes for you each week, but I could use a bit of help spreading the word about the podcast. Can you leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast app? Spotify will let you tap on the stars, and Apple Podcasts will let you tap on the stars and leave a 1 or 2 sentence review. Thank you so much for taking this extra step. It helps other educators find episodes like this one when they're searching for EdTech tips.